Welcome back to the channel, everybody. We are knocking on that 5K mark, all right? We're only growing. Subscribe, and share this channel with everybody you know, all right? So, this episode is going to be about the hole, right? The dreaded hole, the dungeon, the administrative segregation unit, ADSEG, all right? The majority of you guys that have never been to prison or worked in a prison, probably seen it in the movies, right? Where they throw somebody in a dark hole. They can't see through there, right? They give them their food through a little slot in the door. Well, it's not as dramatic as the movie makes it seem. There's light. They have lights in their cell. There's windows. They have windows they're able to look out of it. But depending on where they're at, they may not have a view of much. It'll be a concrete wall in some places. In other places, it's a regular housing unit, like a regular building, but they're more secured. They don't get you come out. They don't get you have the privileges that everybody else has, right? So I'm going to go down some ways, some reasons why people end up in ADSEG. One of the easiest ones to start off is by breaking certain rules, by violating certain policies and or laws. So something that could land you in ADSEG, right? So that's the jail inside of the prison. You're going to be separated from the rest of the general population. For sure, committing the act of murder is going to get you removed from the general population and putting you into ADSEG. I'm not going to go into the SHU, the segregated housing unit, because wherever I worked, there was no SHU. There's an ADSEG. And I only speak about things that I know about. So, any A1 offense, any felony, so a simple fight is not going to land you in ADSEG. However, if you break a bone, if you get numerous sutures, stitches, that is considered serious bodily injury. If you knock somebody unconscious, loss of consciousness, that's going to get you placed in ADSEG for sure. And we'll wait as lieutenants, because we're in charge of the overall packet, right? The whole overall incident packet. We'll wait to see what the doctors deem, if they deem it SBI. I didn't always necessarily want to throw dudes in the hole. There's a lot of paperwork behind that, a lot of reports. The officers have to roll up property. So I would legitimately wait for the doctor's recommendation unless it was clearly obvious that there was something broken or this dude had a gash. Another thing that'll get you landed in ADSEG is battery on an inmate with a weapon. Doesn't have to be a shank. A shank is a weapon, but it can be a cane. I've seen many of canes broken over the top of dudes' heads. Like those aluminum ones too, especially at Donovan. Donovan has a lot of wheelchairs, has a lot of canes, and man, they'll just crack somebody with it. That's going to get you placed in ADSEG. Socks filled with rocks or batteries, and you're swinging it around, you knock somebody upside the head, that's a weapon. A state cup. I'm actually going to make a video when I was brand new and somebody got knocked out with a state cup. Those things are no joke. Those solid, hard plastic cups that we issue out to the inmates as soon as they touch down in R&R. Let me see, those type of crimes. I think you got the idea. I think you got the idea that if you commit one of those types of violations, you're going to the hole for sure. Another reason is safety concerns. So, I talked about the new Generation Z, of inmates coming in. And a lot of these guys are afraid of their own shadow. And it's not just the new ones. There's some old ones as well. And I say this because I worked at Donovan. That's a whole nother level. All right, I'm talking about guys that are afraid of their own shadow versus hey, you got put in the hat. You got marked to get messed up. So now you kind of don't have a choice. You can choose to tough it out. You can be the tough guy, but it's not going to end well for you. You're going to get carried out in a stretcher. And if you're lucky, you're going to survive. You're going to have scars all over you. But safety concerns. So there'll be times where as a sergeant, you hear like a little knock on the door. Different programs are set up differently. So at Centinela, there was no... Well, I was not a sergeant at Centinela. I was an officer. But even then, there was no window from the sergeant's office to the outside. At Donovan, there's a big-ass window. You can see the whole yard. So we'll see those dudes pacing back and forth. And you already know, oh, man, this guy's going to piece you up. This guy's going to piece you up. So protective custody. And yeah, they'll knock. They'll say, hey, Sarge, I can't be on the yard. I got to get off the yard. And I'm like, first automatic thing you do is you put them in handcuffs. And here's why you put them in handcuffs. Because that inmate is extremely dangerous. They would much rather punch an officer. Oh, that's another crime that's going to send you to the hole. A battery on a peace officer. They would much rather punch an officer than get stabbed up by their own people. That's the logic. So that's why you got to put them in handcuffs so that they don't have that opportunity. You take away that opportunity from them. And everybody is safe that way. They're safe, you're safe, everybody else around is safe. So, one particular time, this is a good one. Was I a sergeant or a lieutenant? Either way, I was a supervisor on the yard. Dude comes in, says, Sarge, I can't be here. I got to get off the yard. What's up, man? Oh, I rang up a drug debt. So that's what these dudes will do. They'll ring up a drug debt, but they don't have the money or the intentions to pay it back. And I'm like, you rang up a drug debt. So what? I'm going to kick you back to the yard. And he's like, man, what am I supposed to do? Get beat up? I'm like, yeah, you rang up a drug debt. You have to answer to somebody. Like, what do you think? You can just ring up a drug debt and like just run away? That's part of the problem. You guys just run away from your problems instead of manning up and facing them. I was more upset than anything. Either way, I ended up locking up the guy, right? There's no way I was going to end up throwing him back to the wolves. I just wanted to deliver that message like, yeah, you're supposed to get beat up if you drew a drug debt. What else? You're lucky you're only getting beat up and not murdered. So that's safety concerns. They're not always legitimate. Varies where you're at, varies who it is. They're just scared to do some bullshit and go out backwards. That's what they say when they mean going out backwards. There was another time where in the building, a youngster just knocked this dude out. This older guy, boom, laid into him in the day room. He was in the day room, right? Falls down, whatever. I'm interviewing him. That's what we do. After something, we interview these inmates, gather facts. He tells me he can't be on the yard. I'm like, all right, man, you can't be on the yard. That's fine. Like, but why did you have to punch that dude? You could have just fucking came up and told us you couldn't be on the yard. And he said, oh, because he was a child molester. I was like, thank you, man. Hey, somebody give this dude an extra lunch. But that, I said, I can respect that. But that was kind of my mentality. You see how things mesh with other things? This dude couldn't be on the yard. So he took it upon himself to batter a child molester on his way out, doing the Lord's work. That's what I used to call it. So, dude's off the yard. Going on to another reason you can get put in the administrative segregation, ADSEG. If you're pending some type of investigation, if your presence in general population It's going to jeopardize the integrity of an investigation. Whether it be you're bringing in dope, you're bringing in contraband, right? You have some type of network going on. We have some clear intelligence that you're present, that your safety. Now it's the opposite. Now it's like, hey, we have information. We have intelligence that if you remain on this yard, bad things are going to happen. You're deemed no good. You're going to get attacked. And when I say attacked, I'm talking on the levels of getting stabbed, especially the higher levels you go. I'm going to make a videos on the levels, level 1, 2, 3, and 4. But they don't play. They're going to remove you. So if your presence jeopardizes the integrity of an investigation, and there was all kinds of different integral, man, they go in debt. It's a whole nother world. It's a whole nother network. It's a whole nother organization. So it gets pretty deep when it comes to that type of information. So if you commit a crime, if you're scared or deemed no good, and if you're jeopardizing the integrity of investigation, we're not going to throw you in the hole because we don't like you, because blah, blah, blah. Possession of a controlled substance for distribution, meaning you have enough dope and packaged away to start selling it and doing your whatever you do, that's going to land you in the hole. That's also there's going to be an investigation behind that. So I'm going to wrap it up on this one. There's some other things I got to touch on a later video. Hey, but I want to thank everybody. Everybody's dropping in. It's unbelievable. Santa Monica, the UK, Canada, Puerto Rico keeps showing up, blowing up. Chicago, I see Chi-Town all the time. And California rolled deep initially, but now we're branching out. New York, somebody from Rikers Island. Man, I always wanted to know about Rikers Island. Texas, all you guys. I appreciate all you guys. Show the support. It's a positive message, right? The only way this message is going to get out there by hitting that subscribe and share button. Keep pushing forward.